Welcome back to the channel, Boulder Pain Relief Massage. This is Kemper. Nice to see you again. Thanks for being here at the channel. Today's video is going to be more about how to start moving in some ways that are going to be remedial and therapeutic for your shoulders. A lot of people come to see me for shoulder issues. I specialize in working on frozen shoulders, limited range of motion with the shoulder, acute pain, chronic pain, pre and post-op care, you name it. And shoulders are very complex. I'm going to start with a couple things and then we'll get into the demos. First, shoulders are very complex because the entire girdle, when we talk about that, we're talking about the shoulder blade and the whole arm. All of this connects to your body with one single skeletal attachment, that's the clavicle. And so what tends to happen, ideally the gold standard for a shoulder, if we're really thinking about this a lot, which I do obsessively, is at rest in a really healthy shoulder. Ideally the head of our humerus, or this part of our shoulder here, lines up well with the opening of my ear. And if it does that, then it tells us a couple important things that are really, really positive. One is that it tells us that the loads pulling on the shoulder through the front and the back are relatively imbalanced. What tends to happen for most of us is because everything is in front of us, whether it's computer work, laptop, our mobile, you name it, we're dealing with a lot of rounding of the shoulders. So we use a lot of the front of the chest and the front of the shoulder, and that tends to cause a default where we're stuck here, which causes a lot of pain for most of us. So what do we do about it? So follow along for this. This is a 3-part demo, and I think you're gonna like it. So I give this to a lot of people, and I do this myself, is thinking about having your shoulders kind of relaxed and your arms at your sides, and then using your hands as a guide, bringing your hands up alongside your body, just like this, so that the forearms are kind of parallel to the ground. And then what we're going to do is we're going to gently rotate in towards our center line with our palms down, exactly. And then we're going to externally rotate, or rotating away from the center line of the body, out. And a lot of us, you might find maybe this is where our limit is today, or this is where our limit is, or some of us can go a lot farther. I have very good range. I spent a lot of time practicing this. But again, just start where you are. If you feel any discomfort, try not to go too hard into the pain. And ideally, if there is pain, don't push it too much. There's a big difference between helpful pain and injurious pain. And what we want to do, ideally, you want to feel a little bit of effort in the back of your shoulder where your external rotators are working on your shoulder. And usually it's a pleasant, kind of mild stretch through the front of the shoulder or the humerus here as we're opening up, namely subscapularis muscle, which is an internal rotator, and also pectoralis major. These are 2 big players involved in this action. So you can do this a lot if you find some tension at the desk, if you find some discomfort while you're working. This is a nice thing to do if you can in the middle of the day as well, to break up your time bent over your desk or technology or task, whatever that is. And this could also be building, this could be sport, this could also be professional cyclists over handlebars. So you name it, all of us are dealing with this to some degree. So let's take that to the second step. So we've already got this first one. This is a nice range of motion exercise that opens up the shoulders, feels wonderful, and is very, very effective just to address these very common patterns that most of us have. The second part is we're going to take this a little bit farther to get into the shoulder girdle a little bit more. So we focused on the external rotation. Now what we're going to do is we bring the arms in, we're gently going to round our shoulders forward. And then as we bring our arms out, we're going to gently open our shoulders. And what we're mainly going to be targeting is pectoralis minor. This muscle attaches to what's called the coracoid process, or the front of the shoulder blade as it comes through here, and then ribs 3, 4, and 5. And so if that muscle is tight, it can really hold the shoulder or anchor it in the front of our body and chest, and can make movement in the back and scapular glides limited and difficult. And so we're getting into this position now where we're rolling more, we're starting to bring our shoulders open, and we're starting to round, so we're tightening that muscle, and then we're lengthening that muscle. So now we're bringing in all of the actions, slightly rounding as we turn in towards the center of the body, and then opening gently. This is going to give nice scapular range of motion to the whole shoulder girdle, and particularly the muscles that are most causal and shortened through the front of the girdle. So these are 2 wonderful exercises, and then something you can do, because most of us don't do exercises like this if we're in the store or in the car, but it's to start taking this out into your day. A lot of us default to kind of rounded shoulders. If I exaggerate it, my arms kind of twisted in. And if we can, just letting the shoulder relax so that at rest, as we're walking through the world or the day or the house or the office, our shoulders are kind of in a neutral position, closer to this lined position with our ear. And we're more comfortable relaxing, so the chest is a little bit more open and the shoulders are relaxed. This will help normalize this position for your shoulder girdle and will make a significant difference. Again, this is something that all of us are dealing with. I often like to say, to disarm this for my clients and patients, I have never seen anyone work on their computer or ride their bike behind them. So all of us are dealing with this to various degrees. So I hope that's helpful, a 3-part shoulder demo. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be sure to get to those shortly. Please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.